Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today. And this one, as you can see, barely fits in a frame. It's a big Bible. And if you didn't read the title of the video, it is a Schuyler Credo Quentel ESV in black goatskin with the full Yapp. So I would probably consider this one of their flagship models. This seems to be, have all the bells and whistles of what they offer. It's got a full Yapp, has the creeds and confessions. It's an ESV and it's in a black leather. I mean, it's like about as standard as a Schuyler Bible gets, and I would imagine probably one of their better sellers on the website. So I wanted to do a review of it for you guys, and probably one comparison, maybe if I can figure life out, might do a comparison. But let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the box. It is your standard kind of Schuyler black box. It does say the name again. It's got the Schuyler kind of Jerusalem cross there imprinted on the front. And then you have the Schuyler Bibles at the top of the box there, and then it's just black on all the other sides. Now it is a one-piece box, and there's a little notch there to help you open it up. Goodness. And then on the inside, you just have standard fare for Schuyler, which is these two pieces of white craft paper to help train the Yapp and protect it and keep it minty fresh, as I say. And then you have these two Schuyler cards, if I can get them. And the first one is a little card kind of describing Schuyler Bibles. I'll leave it there for you to read if you desire. And then you just have their business card with their newly updated logo. Weep. So there you go. That's kind of standard with all Schuyler Bibles. You get all that jazz. So we'll close it up. One thing to note, at least for me, and it could just be because of the overall size of this box, it is very large, but it does feel a little bit more on, like, I don't want to say flimsy, but just like a little bit thinner, I guess, than maybe their other boxes. It could just be me, really, or it could be the overall size. So it might be the same material, but it just does feel a little bit like not as sturdy, I guess, as their previous boxes. So we'll set that to the side and get into the gargantuan Bible here. So, yeah, let's take a look. You have that nice, beautiful grain that Schuyler is known for on the outside there. Wonderful grain. You do have the kind of blind stamped or dry stamped, whatever you want to call it, Jerusalem cross logo there on the cover. Kind of see it reflecting. There's a perimeter line at the edge of the book block, and then you also have a stitched line on the very far outside edge of the cover. And this grain is very nice, very fine grain. Not like 100% super smooth, but kind of more on the smooth side. It's nice though. Really, I don't know what other word to say other than nice, because it is so nice. On the spine, you do have the continuation of the stitching, but you do not have a continuation of the perimeter line there. It's kind of weird. You can see it on the bottom, how it like goes here and then it kind of ends and then it starts up again. I don't know why they do that, but that's the design choice that they chose. You do have Holy Bible and then English Standard Version and the Schuyler logo. And you also have 6 raised spine hubs or spine ribs. And there does seem to be something kind of underneath them. And if there isn't, then they are just very well done. Nicely pinched, I guess. However you make spine ribs. But they do pop up quite nicely. So very nice job there with the spine hubs. On the back, you have the continuation of that wonderful grain. And then kind of just the perimeter line of the stitches again, continuing. Now, as far as the head and tail bands go, they are red to match the ribbons. And then you can see that beautiful page edge gilt there. So nice, you can see my camera and my fan and everything above me reflected in it. But it's a very well done red and gold art gilt. And then you can see there are 3 red Berrisford's ribbons, maybe more like a scarlet kind of color, a deeper red. But very wonderful ribbons. This is probably as nice as ribbons as you can possibly get. Double-sided satin, obviously Berrisford's are kind of the top ribbons that you can use in Bible construction or elsewhere, I guess. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the inside of it. So when we open it up, there we go. You can see this beautiful red that they use on the inside, and it is a leather edge-line construction here, and you can see the tab comes up pretty good here onto the book block. There is a kind of a synthetic material here that they use to kind of cover this end sheet and the tab. And it matches very nicely. The color is very accurate to the color of the leather, which is nice to see that. That's something that you could have kind of skimped on and be slightly off, but they did a great job here. Let's get you in tight. We'll take a look at all the perimeter lines and everything going on up there. You can see the corner work. So these corners that they chose to go with are pleated. Normally Schuyler cuts their corners, so imagine like little tiny triangles cut out so that they can kind of glue them down. And it makes kind of for like a cleaner presentation, but I prefer pleated corners like this. which is where they don't cut the leather. They just kind of fold it over into this nice little design. I think it looks better. A little kind of elevates the look of it. You do have goatskin leather cover imprinted here on the inside. And then that wonderful gold perimeter line continues to the back, and I'll show you the back corners as well. All the corners on this one are nicely done, so it's nice to see that. And this is a one-piece liner. Alan, excuse me, I had something in my throat there. Some other manufacturers will not do a single one-piece liner. Schuyler here has chosen to do a single one-piece liner, so sometimes you'll see like a little, kind of a little slot there, and they're just putting two pieces of leather together to make the liner, whereas Schuyler here has done it in one piece. Which, obviously it's a mark of a better quality construction. Sorry, Alan. Gotta call a spade a spade. But it is what it is. Schuyler does an amazing job with their Bibles. So let's go ahead and get this open. You do have that end sheet there, and then you have a thick kind of cardstock page there. Now, one thing to note, I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick it up, but it looks as though like this red ink from this kind of floral design here has transferred over to this page. So there's a very light kind of imprint of it. Maybe we're just kind of like transferred a little bit. Maybe the ink was still wet or something like that. But it's very faint. Again, I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up, but it is there. So just something to note. And you have your presentation page, your marriages page, births and deaths, and then your Holy Bible, your title page. Now you might be able to tell, I don't know if you can on the camera, but there's a little kind of crinkle up here on the bottom too. It looks like something happened maybe during the production process, and the page kind of got pulled maybe like in, and then it caused kind of these weird little foldy lines there. So just that's just my edition. Everybody's edition is going to be different, so don't assume that your Schuyler Bible is going to be like this. And I would imagine that Schuyler would honor their warranty with this if you were so inclined to send it back to them. It doesn't bother me, so I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to keep on Bibling with it, and that's okay with me. Then you have the second title page here, the Holy Bible, English Standard Version. And then you have Schuyler's contact information. Let's turn the page. You have the copyright information. Pretty overwhelming. You got a lot of copyright information there. Kind of goes into some detail about the people who helped produce the Bible, the companies that contributed to the materials, those sorts of things. This little logo, in case you're curious, just says essentially that the paper was responsibly sourced, but lots of information there in regards to the Bible translation and materials and all that kind of stuff. 2K Denmark, which is the type and kind of font settings and that sort of thing. Then you have your table of contents. Now, weirdly, I did notice that it doesn't list out, at least here, the different creeds and confessions. It just lists the books of the Bible. And then here as well, just in alphabetical order. Then you have the preface to the ESV translation. Now, this does appear to be the full preface for the ESV. And once we get through it, we have the Old Testament title page. And then we have Genesis. Now, I'll go ahead and bring this up close so you guys can get a look at this wonderful layout. I'll go nice and slow for you. But it's a wonderful layout that Schuyler's done here with the Quentels. Turn the page so we can get a better feel for it. You have your book name and your chapter numbers on the top corners, that are associated with each page. Those are in red. You also have in red the page numbers in the gutter, and then you have your chapter numbers are also in red. You do have running headers here throughout the text. It is a double column paragraph, and then there are poetic sections here that you can see throughout the text. Your translator's footnotes are on the kind of outer lower corners there, and then you do have your cross references listed across the bottom. Now, I do prefer this because, like I've said before, I prefer reader's editions. And to me, this is a nice compromise between a reader's edition and a reference edition. It's nice because it pulls kind of that center column out and it moves it down here, so it kind of frees up that reading experience, so to speak. So I prefer it. The verse numbers are very nice and bold, so they're very easy to find in the text. They stand out very nicely, which is a plus. So we'll flip through a little bit of it here so you guys can get a feel for it. It's kind of standard Quentel fare, at least as far as the biblical text is concerned. If you guys have seen one Quentel, you've seen them all, I suppose. But we'll get over to the poetic section. You can see here the layout, very nicely done. There's no widows or orphans from what I can see. We'll turn a couple pages just to make sure. But yeah, I'm not seeing any single word lines, which is very nice. I always appreciate when they take the extra time to kind of format it like that, so you don't have any of those kind of floaters here and there. But let's go ahead and take a look at the paper. This is probably for me the only miss with Schuyler Bibles. They use a 28 GSM paper that I'm not a fan of. It's not my super favoritist paper. I would much preferred that they stuck with their 36 GSM. I know it's going to make the Bible thicker, but for me, I would take that increase in size and the increase in cost just to have kind of less show through. Is it game ending? I don't know. At this price point, I'm like, come on, we can do better than this, right? So I'm not like super stoked about the level of show through. I certainly wish it was less, and I would certainly, like I said, pay the additional cost to go up to a 36 GSM paper. I would also carry the additional weight. I'm fine with that because this is a big Bible, and you're not fooling anybody when you get to, this size. It barely fits in frame. Like, I'll take an extra couple ounces or whatever the case may be to have that kind of reduced show through. I was able to find the company that produces the paper for them, and there is no real middleman. I know a lot of people are like, oh, 32 GSM is a perfect compromise. The thing is, they don't make a 32 GSM for this nice kind of very smooth paper that Schuyler uses. It goes from a 28 to a 36 and then up to, I think it's a 45. So there's no real kind of in between, unfortunately. So yeah, Schuyler, if you can, please go to a 36. I'd pay money for it. Let's keep going here. We'll get to the New Testament. But I love this layout. I mean, Schuyler's really just done an outstanding job with the layout. The paper is really the only thing for me. It is line matched, however. So it's not like, here you can see, maybe it's a little more like noticeable in the poetic settings, but here you have kind of larger paragraphs and it's less noticeable. So the line matching definitely helps with that. And certainly this paper is no slouch. It's a very nice, very smooth paper. I'm not a super fan of smooth paper, but it definitely feels very nice. Very nice indeed. Let me see if I can get right to the New Testament. Let's try flipping. I'm going to end up going back and forth. Another thing for me is I find that 28 GSM paper is very hard to turn. It's always hard for me to kind of catch a page. So I end up fussing with it a little bit more than I feel like I should to turn a page. But yeah, so here's the end of Malachi. Then you have your New Testament title page. And you have the Gospel according to Matthew. And it is a black letter text, so you're not going to see any red letters, which is unfortunate because this, I would imagine, in this not vibrant, but in this nice color red, it would be a very nice red letter text. But yes, just black letter for this ESV. So you have the end of Revelation. Right there it wraps up really nicely at the end of the page. And then you have your table of weights and measures, abbreviations used. Then you have your concordance. And this is maybe one other miss in the Quentel line, but this super teeny tiny concordance. Look, I'm going to bust out the measurements right here, and we're going to measure it real quick. We'll do the lowercase. I don't want to spend all day here, but this M and from, we will take a look at it. Oh my goodness, it is getting small. It is like a 5.5 point font. Yeah, it's like a 5.5 point font for these entries in the concordance. Schuyler, y'all can do better than this. A 5.5 point is essentially unusable. I have 20/20 vision as far as I know, like the last time I got checked or whatever. And this is not difficult for me to read, but it is uncomfortable for me to read. 5.5 points is very small font, especially given what you're coming from. You're coming from this nice chunky font that we'll take a look at in a little bit. And then going down to this, it is reprehensible. They definitely need to bump this up. Really, I feel like people have been saying this forever about their concordance, but yeah, they need to listen and bump this up because it's teeny small, man. So once you get past this microscopic concordance, they do not include a microscope, so you have to purchase that on your own. But once you get past that, you get to your historic creeds, confessions, and catechisms of Christendom, and then it has your the list of them. I'm stuck on Christendom. It has your creeds and confessions listed here. So you have the Apostles' Creed, the Nicene Creed, the Chalcedonian Creed, the Athanasian Creed. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that. You have the Augsburg Confession, the Articles of Religion, the Westminster Standards, the Westminster Confession, the Larger Catechism, the Shorter Catechism, and then the London Baptist Confession of Faith. So quite the spread there as far as creeds are concerned. I'm sure that there are more that have been done over the years. These are the ones that just, I guess, Schuyler picked it. Maybe not at random, but the ones that they picked. And you have your various creeds here, and I'll kind of flip through them for you guys to see. Maybe not all of them, because I know some of them get a little wordy. There's the Augsburg Confession. Augsburg Confession. And you have your Articles of Religion. So you guys can see the various creeds and confessions. And then after this, I believe it's just the maps. We will take a look. Here's your London Baptist Confession. Then you have your Bible maps. These are standard for Schuyler. I wish they'd break the map here, but that's A-okay. Same with this one. I wish they'd split it in the gutter there, so the text wouldn't go down in there. I don't know why they don't. It's another one of those things I feel like a lot of people have commented on, and they still haven't fixed it or changed it. I don't know. Maybe something they can't do. Then you have your index to maps. Not called a gazetteer. Wah wah. Come on, guys. And you have a few blank sheets of cardstock back here. And then you have your end sheet right there. And that's it. So, very nice if you guys like the, kind of the creeds and that sort of thing, or if you're a fan of the full Yapp, this is definitely an edition that provides that for you. Let's go ahead and get some measurements. So this comes in at a whopping, goodness, with the Yapp fully extended, it is almost 10.5 inches tall. As far as width goes, it is right at 7 inches wide. And then for thickness, not very thick, just under 1.5 inches thick. Now let's take a look at the fonts for the main biblical text. They do look outstandingly large. So we'll take a look. We'll start with the capitals. We'll do, I don't know, let's do this B down here, Behold. It appears to be a 10 point. Yeah, right at a 10 point in comparison to Times New Roman for the uppercase. And then for the lowercase, we will do the M and diminish here. And this looks substantially bigger. Looks to be about a 12 point in comparison to a Times New Roman. Yeah, right at a 12 point. So the way that I usually do it is I go by the lowercase letter, only because there's more lowercase letters than uppercase letters. So we'll say that this is a 12-point font for the Quentel, which is a great size, nice and easily readable. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do a comparison. Let me grab a Bible and I will be right back. So I wanted to compare apples to apples, and really, since Schuyler is at the very highest of price brackets, the only thing viable that I could compare it to would be an Allen. So what this is an Allen ESV NC1, and it's got the Highland Goatskin and the red speckled page edges they did a while back ago. I am hoping at some point to do a review of this Bible, but in the meantime, if you could just bear with me, I guess. We'll use it for comparison's sake at least. I do have some other ESVs, but there's not going to be anything that would compare to a Schuyler quite like an Allen at the very least. So we'll go ahead and do this. So let's take a look. We'll open them up. And the primary difference is really just going to be the references. In the Schuyler, they're at the bottom of the page, and in the Allen, they are in the center. So I guess it really kind of just depends what you're looking for, what you're comfortable with. If you prefer center column references, this Allen NC1 might be a better fit for you versus the Schuyler. Or if you prefer more of a reader layout, the Schuyler might be better for you. There is a slight font difference. I measured this, and it came in at about an 11 point in comparison to Times New Roman for the lowercase. Whereas again, if you remember, the Schuyler was a 12 point. So it's a 1 point difference between the two. If font size being as large as it can be is your goal, then you might want to go with the Schuyler instead of the Allen. Another thing to note is that the Allen's paper is ever so slightly a little bit more kind of creamy, has a little bit slightly more of a yellow hue to it. I prefer this. It kind of gives it like an old-timey feel to me. So I like the Allen paper. And the Allen paper if I remember correctly, I think is a 36 GSM. I'll correct it on here if it's not. But if I remember correctly, it's a 36 GSM. And because of that, you'll see that the show through is lessened, which again is my argument for the Schuyler. They should really bump it up. Here we'll take a look. You can see that there's kind of minimal show through there. You can see a little bit through it, but not very much in this poetic section here in the Allen. But they're both very similar. The Schuyler uses the 2K Denmark font, whereas if I remember correctly, Allen just uses the standard like Crossway font, which it escapes me now. I'll annotate it. But they use kind of the standard Crossway font that Crossway uses in the majority of their Bibles. Now, as far as preference goes, I don't really have a preference. I'm not too much of a font snob. They both look beautiful to me, both of the layouts. So I would probably lean a little bit more towards the Schuyler, only because I prefer kind of more the reader layout. But the Allen kind of, for me, edges it out in the paper quality for sure, and the paper color as well. So there you have it, a nice little comparison between an Allen and a Schuyler. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. If you could please also leave me a like, comment, and if you could please subscribe, that would all be very much appreciated. Until next time, Bible buddies, bye.